Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent and currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world-famous juggler, Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing great. We actually get to, as you say, review one of our favorite movies. So it's been a great week getting to do this. How about yourself, Ozzy?
I'm doing fantastic. I saw Top Gun again, which makes it the fifth time I saw it in the theaters. And probably by the time of this being released, I should say at the time of this recording, which is June 12th, I've seen it 5 times. I took my nephews yesterday. They enjoyed it, which was awesome. But it's for the first non-comic book movie that I've seen that many times in a theater.
For everyone who questions if Ozzy can have fun or not, this is how Ozzy has fun.
Wait, hold on. You said it's a non-comic book movie you've seen the most. Didn't you see Sonic more times?
No, I saw Sonic twice.
Oh, I thought you saw it a lot more times than that.
I saw the second Sonic twice. I saw the first Sonic 3 times.
Oh, gotcha.
But when it comes to the 5, actually, to tell you the truth, that only happened with Batman.
Oh, yeah.
With Dark Knight and the most recent one, I saw 5 times in the theater. So,
got it.
So Batman gets the Booker T treatment. Also, ladies and gentlemen, third voice you heard, Flesh Wound producer Todd shaking his head at my corny jokes.
What's up? I'm just confused why you're not wearing your Winger t-shirt instead of this AC/DC one.
You son of a... How dare you refer to me as Stuart? I don't even have blonde hair. Well, what Todd is referring to, in case you haven't picked up on this, we are reviewing Beavis and Butthead Do America, released on February 20th, 1996, with a runtime of 81 minutes. Todd, do you have the trailer available?
I do.
Excellent.
In cooperation with authorities, we request your assistance in apprehending America's 2 most wanted fugitives. Sketch artists have prepared the following likenesses. Now on video, Beavis and Butthead hit the road. To seek their fortune.
I want to watch TV.
Find romance.
Can I help you with that?
I love you. Come to Butthead.
You got 2 seconds.
Is that gonna be enough time?
Win fame.
I am going to you.
These are the most dangerous men in America. I want these faces in front of every Fed and 2 big sheriff within 1,000 miles.
Get the hell out of the cockpit.
You said
Now.
And do an entire nation.
Whoa. Check out Butthead TV.
I think I found the remote.
Beavis.
That's amazing.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
You want to see something really cool?
Butthead.
We're on a bus with chicks. Hey, baby.
In an adventure that's just the right size for your television.
Did we miss Baywatch?
No.
Beavis and Butthead Do America.
I extend my deepest thanks.
He said extend.
Now on video cassette.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that you picked the trailer that was advertising the video cassette, because the first time I saw this, obviously it wasn't in theaters. Nobody was going to be able to take me, but I had to wait for my sister to rent it from our local video store, known as Video Town at the time.
Well, that's perfect, because the actual trailer, there's like teasers and stuff with just like the Hollywood sign and them covering it to make wood. So I figured we'd go with one that like actually had some footage.
Right. No, absolutely. Got some good sound bites in there. It actually included one of my favorite moments that made me laugh the hardest, for sure. So to round this out, written and directed by Mike Judge, also had some writing credits to Joe Stillman, starring Mike Judge, Bruce Willis, Demi Moore, and Robert Stack. And was also interesting, you also had Cloris Leachman as a voice.
Yeah.
It's fun to see as well. Now, initial thoughts on this. I wanted to see this in the theater. I couldn't. It was the TV show was really popular when I was around like the 5th, 6th grade. So when the movie came out, I was in junior high. My mom knew I watched it, but she wasn't going to pay money for me to go see it in a theater.
You got that at home.
Pretty much, same idea. But before I kick it to you, Greg, one thing that I thought was really cool about this movie was the soundtrack, because I recorded a tape off of a CD for the soundtrack of this movie because I enjoyed a lot of the songs, especially Red Hot Chili Peppers' cover of Love Roller Coaster.
Yeah, that soundtrack was killer. As a matter of fact, I think it's what introduced me to Rob Zombie. And I think also explains my 20s seeing this movie at an early age. But yeah, this movie, I remember I wasn't supposed to see it at the time that I did, but my older brother had a copy of it. And when the parents were away, of course, got to watch it, and it was fantastic. And I loved every second of it. I was really excited to see if this movie held up. And man, yeah, it definitely did. So it was a lot of fun to go back to.
Todd.
I was 20 years old when this movie came out, or 19, in the theaters. Did see it. I was already a big fan. I think there's funnier individual episodes, but this is just done at such a grander scale. It feels like the movie version, unlike something more recent like a Bob's Burgers, where we're still in the same location, just kind of like spiffied up the CG. And this one like makes it bigger.
Now,
The Simpsons movie did that too. Even though we're still there, it made it grander.
Was this the first, like, it was a TV series, an animated TV series that like went to a full length feature? Was this one of the first ones, or because I can't think of ones before that?
What year was South Park?
South Park was 2000 or 99. It won the 2000
after.
Emmy.
This is one of the earlier ones that I can think of.
Oscar. Yeah, 96. What animated shows were before then that were as popular?
Yeah,
like you said, The Simpsons, but that came out way after in terms of the movie. But
Jam, but
no,
it's not,
not like this.
Yeah,
Space Jam was like a sports version of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Right.
So. I do remember having like the little plush of them, and I just remember Skull and Death Rock being annoying because they didn't want to license the band names.
Right. Yes. So in terms of some of these funniest moments, what I really appreciated is that for a second I thought the movie was front loaded with a lot of its humor, but that wasn't the case. It actually had a lot of gags throughout. And after Van Driesen gets arrested, taken away by the ATF just because, right? And for no reason whatsoever, they smash his guitar. And of course, this is where the popular Lesbian Seagull song was, Van Driesen being the one who sang Lesbian Seagull also sings it, portion of it in the movie.
Yeah, that whole scene like was brilliant. You know, like this was one of those movies where picking a favorite was incredibly difficult. Just because each time you thought you had laughed the hardest, like something else came up that like just made you laugh even more. So I'm just going to go with one of the earlier ones because it really got the ball rolling and was like one of those first moments where I was like, this is Beavis and Butthead. There's a moment where they're in the plane and he gets buckled in and he wants to go talk to the stewardess. And so he unbuckles and he's like, come to Butthead. You know, the famous like come to Butthead line that he said so many times, but like gets interrupted as the plane's taking off, falls through the entire airplane, gets to the back, sees her. He's like, could you like do that thing with my belt again? Like, it was just so perfect. Like, every bit of that was like, okay, we're in for a ride. Like, this is what I want from this movie, and it never let up.
I got like an honorable mention line that
Should I go
I don't
first?
know.
Or?
Yeah, no, that's what Todd. Just in case you hit it, but
All
something
right.
along early on.
Well, I have a bit and a line because I love the stuff with their dads. But
Right.
if I'm going with the line, it's when Beavis is in the confessional and like he asks him how many Hail Marys and he's like 1,000. I want you to hit yourself.
Harder.
Yeah.
Harder.
I will say the lightning strike hit me pretty hard.
Okay.
Just the timing was perfect. It felt like very similar to like when Wile E. Coyote would get hit with something in terms of the timing of when something would happen. He'd be one action done by him followed by a lightning strike. It was like equal timing, so it almost like kicked off those Looney Tunes neurons. But what I had mentioned is when they had taken the TV from the school and Van Driesen telling him, "Oh, you can't take that. That's school's property." Pretty sure it happens in the scene, but Butthead just turns and says, "Some people are dumb." Just it's one of those things. Yeah, this is exactly how we're gonna do this movie. So absolutely fantastic. And one last honorable mention that I had to give is when they were leaving Vegas. As soon as they were at the Hoover Dam, they thought they were in Washington and said they were going to score. And the old lady says, "Actually, we're at the Hoover Dam." And then they just say the previous lines, but louder.
Every moment with that old lady was gold. Like, she was fantastic throughout this whole film.
Right. And a perfect voice for, because as mentioned, it was Cloris Leachman. Right. And another thing I thought was interesting is when every time Beavis went into her purse for candy, she would have mothballs and candy corn.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a great attention to detail right there, because it just could have been whatever. It was like, no, it's got to be mothballs and candy corn. Like, it's old people candy.
Just to get another good honorable mention in that, like, really cracked me up for its time, especially. Like, there was a moment where they get to Vegas and they meet the wife, and she's like, "Oh, I'll pay you guys to do my husband," and he's like, "You want us to do a guide? No way." And then Beavis is like, "I don't know, Butthead, that's a lot of money. We can close our eyes and pretend he's a chick." Oh, it was so good.
It's a great, in terms of the writing, great callback to just like classic stupid comedy of just a like, if I could kick back to Ruthless People, when Bill Pullman couldn't look away because he thought the lady was being murdered, when in actuality they were just having sex. And that kind of like confusion is so funny to see. And when it happens here, it's especially all the confusion happening with the ATF agents, especially led by Robert Stack of all people.
Right.
This makes it fantastic. And with an 81-minute runtime, because the thing about the show, if you're not familiar with the show, watching this movie before watching the shows, I think is not a good idea.
You have so many callbacks.
Right. And then there's actually one line that when they're leaving is it one of the museums or the dams? But no, it wasn't when they were leaving it was when Beavis had mentioned that place was boring, just like, yeah, just the same thing over and over again. You just got a feeling that was a criticism of the show itself. Like, it's just the same jokes over and over again. But watching the shows, they're good in small, their humor's good in small bits, but to Todd's point, they've managed to make it on a grander scale to where it would actually work just like for a generic movie, and they just plug the characters in.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that people don't realize is this is different than adapting a Simpsons or Bob's Burgers, because those are 30-minute shows. Beavis and Butthead was about 2 8-minute skits with music videos stuck all in between.
Yeah.
So the episode, it wasn't like a 30-minute episode. So you got them in really small bits.
Mm-hmm.
So
the way they managed to make it palatable for the entire time. And of course, the way they fit in a music video is they had to.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
if their show is known for having videos in it, why not have a video in it as well?
And
so
what a video, by the way.
Of course.
Now I have to ask you this.
Yeah.
The Beavis and Butthead NES or SNES or Genesis game. Are you familiar with it?
Where they had to look for the Guar tickets?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how frustrating that fucking game was.
Oh, yeah.
Both versions, because they were different.
Really? I only played the Genesis version. I didn't know the Super Nintendo.
I want to say the Genesis one might have been a little better than the Nintendo one or Super Nintendo one, but it had other screw ups in like other ways. So
yeah, you got to fry that rat.
Fry the rat so the guy can puke up a portion of the ticket that he just happens to have in his body.
Right, as you do.
All right.
How far did you make it in that game? Did you ever make it to the concert?
No,
yes,
I didn't.
But no, I have to say I didn't make it to the concert when I first played it. But when I got an emulator of the game and I replayed it older and I had a little bit more sense and the internet, yeah, I went through it all.
Emulated games are the only way to defeat the ones that you were just too frustrated or too young to hit. Indiana Jones Last Crusade. I just basically use screenshots of what stuff looked like from the diary. It's a huge, long story. So anyway, going to the ratings, though. The fact that it was 81 minutes made it so just forced it to be quick in its pace. That stuff was always happening. Like, you weren't just wondering, no one was wasting any time. And maybe that's just fresh in my head because I just recently saw Jurassic World Dominion. Good Lord. But, sorry. I had so much fun with this, just shy of a 5. I want to give it a 4.5.
Wow, that's surprising. Like, it's fair.
And
but
I think maybe that could be some biases on me because I was so familiar with the show. Had I not seen the show, I probably think I'd give it closer to a 3. But because, seeing Van Driesen, Principal McVickers, and, and of course, Cornholio, then what happens towards the end, just being familiar with the characters definitely helps.
Oh, I'm not shocked
them.
about how high it was. I'm shocked that it wasn't a 5. Like, I give this movie a 5, hands down. Like, I've always loved this movie. It's got a great pace. You're never bored. You're always laughing. It's got a great soundtrack. What more can you want from a movie? Like, it's and the jokes hold up. Like, and that's the best part of it. Like, there's none of the jokes that you're like, oh, one joke maybe, but because they're dumb, like, it still holds up. The whole thing about the flushing toilets, with the sensors, like, at the time that was new, so it was kind of shocking, but them being dumb, you still kind of like, they could be amazed by it. So, but yeah, hands down, 5 for this movie.
Well, I'm glad one of you got it right. Good job, Greg. So I'm a 5 also.
I think it's just I have a bias against animation. Like, like it's almost like I'm not watching a real movie. I'm not saying that's a correct opinion. It's just,
and yet you play so many video games.
I know. Hey, no, but key thing, I'm in control of something. If I'm just watching something, excuse me. I don't know, but can I just change it to a 5? I'm not saying it's
could, but we're not going to let you.
God damn it.
Go ahead, Ozzy. Okay.
I'm giving this a 5.
There you go.
Good job, Ozzy.
Excellent.
I think the fact that we all gave this a 5, finally, I I think it's gonna have our next episode is gonna have some really big shoes to fill.
That's right. In case you weren't familiar,
Boy.
there is a sequel, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, premiering on Paramount Plus as of June 23rd. I believe, Todd, is that correct?
Yes, and we're gonna get we're not all of them. We're gonna get a bunch of the old MTV the episodes with the music videos in them again.
Yes, super excited for that. I just wish the Paramount Plus had an app that was equal to the excitement I'd have for the show. But I get what you can do. Because anyway, we're going to actually be live next week with that episode on the 27th. Same Monday, same time at 9 o'clock. We'll just be live talking about Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. You guys have any final thoughts on this one before we head out?
Look, I'm just hoping for next week or for this next episode, that we have at least the same feeling as we did for the Reno 911 movie that just came out, where maybe it's not as good as the original because this is a big bar to reach. But we're still happy, although I do hope it still meets it. We'll see. But like you said, I'm excited.
I did like I don't know if you guys watched it, that last season they did on MTV. That was like probably 10 years ago now. They just randomly, when they were trying to bring it back. And since at that point they weren't watching music videos because music videos didn't come on TV, they would watch like little clips of like Jersey Shore or whatever other stupid MTV show.
Yes, that's right.
And even the writing on those episodes, I mean, the music videos are separate, but like the actual episodes was still just as great.
Yeah, no, I remember that, but I guess I just forgot about a second season 10 years ago. That was
no, I think it's been
further
a while
back.
Yeah, I'd have to check the year, but it's been
that sounds very familiar of them watching Jersey Shore. That sounds very, and if they did that again, if they decided to do new episodes with that kind of stuff, or them watching any Paramount anything.
Well, now they have to be watching the Paramount Plus app.
Well, yeah, but whatever. That could be that's an interesting thing. You could put the Paramount Plus app. Okay, so Paramount Plus, if you're listening, just do this idea because it would be funny. They would have the Paramount Plus app logo in the corner. So, okay, they're watching on this app. Then they could watch anything that's on the app.
Yeah.
The trailer for Top Gun, Bar Rescue would be funny, right? They could continue watching the MTV shows. But I think that, yes, Todd.
No, I was just saying 2011, I confirmed. That's when it was.
2011. Okay. Well, it also had to contend with South Park at the same time because this show was hugely popular when South Park hadn't even debuted yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it was just like South Park debuted 96, 97. And that was pretty much the tail end of this. Like this came out December of 96. So it was, I think that's probably why that return season didn't gain any traction, but who knows?
Which is unfortunate because it was just as entertaining. So, yeah, the series original run ended in 97.
97. And when was South Park's first year?
I want to say 98. It was right when the Attitude Era hit.
97.
Yeah, so 97.
So that's very, Well, anyhow, still check this out. You can check it out for rent or purchase on Prime. You can watch it on the Paramount Plus app, but if the Paramount Plus app is not available to get on your TV, because I couldn't get it on my TV for whatever reason.
Even if you can, it hardly ever works.
I could say that you could easily buy this movie and you'll watch it multiple times if you guys would agree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hands down. This is a definite buy.
Yeah. I know Todd has it on his Vudu. Don't ask me why I know that, but I just know he does. So there's multiple ways that you can purchase this, as you should. And next week, we'll be back with a new episode, as mentioned earlier, with Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. That will be premiering on Paramount Plus June 23rd. Anything else for this week before we head out?
Good night.
All right. We'll see you live next week, June 27th at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Flesh Wound Farce. Wait a second. I forgot to tell everybody who we were. That is world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd, and I'm Ozzy V. Now we'll see you next week right here on Flesh Wound Farce.